Okay, hello. So no fancy recording, just because not no fancy editing is what I mean, or recording for that matter, because I don't know how to edit in this computer. So I'm just kind of doing this in one take, almost live style, and just hoping for the best. Um, so just a warning, my audio quality is not good, just because I'm using a headphone wire microphone, and then also I don't know how to get the audio from the video that I'm going to be watching to play properly. So if you really want to like hear that in better quality and also just better understand what I'm responding to, go ahead and head over to PolarLotus' channel and actually watch his video. It's pretty good, even though if I do sort of have my own thoughts on it, it's more of a conversation rather than like arguing. Uh, so in that like sort of thread of thought, I have already watched this video, so this is not like a reaction video or anything. This is a debate, conversation, whatever, because I like this character a lot, and I have permission from the Lotus himself to make this video because I am very much obsessed with WX, and I'm sort of known in his community as WX78 in a skirt. Like, that's who I am to them. So that's a lot of fun. So I am going to play this video, and hopefully I won't have any technical issues. So I've skipped this like little intro section here, and we're just gonna listen to what he has to say, and I'm gonna respond.
But could that really be all that you need to be considered human? Let me introduce you to
Okay.
WX78, a non-binary but suspiciously binary robot.
Yeah, they are non-binary, and that's kind of what a lot of their fan base sort of connects to them with. Um, Myself included, I am non-binary, but specifically in the way where like all I like all of the pronouns, so, like they, them, it, it's, he, him, she, her. You can call me basically whatever as long as it's funny. Anyways,
Who's going to help us answer the age-old question today. What makes us human? Now first, let's talk a little bit about WX. As we all know, they are a soulless automaton, both literally and figuratively. They show a complete disdain for organic life and are overall built to fill in the trope of a
wait, hold
robot
on. I'm gonna turn on the captions just because why not? Anyways.
who wants to. But
Uh,
despite WX being the way that they are, there is so much more life behind those seemingly lifeless eyes. WX78 was first conceived.
yeah, so there is definitely a lot of life in them because they have a lot going on. They're very emotional, and like one thing I'm gonna like sort of touch on is like what evil means with in like sort of conversation with humanity, because only humans, as far as we know, are capable of evil. So I just want to like sort of have that conversation. Anyways,
When one of Wagstaff's assistants seemingly willingly transferred the consciousness of themselves into a new robotic casing.
okay,
Why they did this isn't really known. Maybe Wagstaff
I'm just gonna let him.
coerced them into doing it because of, well, you all know how Wagstaff is. Or maybe this assistant had some sort of terminal illness, and this was Wagstaff's way of curing them. So
Okay, I have another like possibility that sort of a lot of the queer fans sort of also understand. They could have been sort of like me, where they don't really feel fully connected with being human. So sometimes I feel like I would be maybe happier as like an animal of some kind, or just like, I don't know. I would love to be a shapeshifter. Anyways, so one possibility was this, that they wanted to be a robot, and not that anything was particularly driving them to other than that. It's sort of like um, their version of a transition. So like consider like transgender people and like that kind of stuff. So it could have been like their way of being non-binary, because like he did mention in the beginning, I don't know if it was audible, that they are non-binary. um, so I think it could very much be connected to that. um, and that's sort of the interpretation that I like to use, that they fully willingly uh, made themselves a robot body and put themselves into that robot body because they just wanted to. Anyways.
that they could continue helping his research. Either way, Wagstaff's assistant is now in a new robotic This transformation was very obviously jolting for the fresh WX, a human mind inside of a metallic, non-human body.
Yeah, and he didn't mention this here, but this was also sort of brought up, like the sort of conflict between the organic parts and the robot parts. In like sort of the beginning of the flashback in their short, they're holding a clipboard and it says that one of their subjects was showing erratic behavior, and that they considered the organic part to be to blame rather than like thinking, oh yeah, it's like not compatible or whatever, or like traumatic. So I think what's going on with them is that they have sort of the same like disconnect happening, but with their brain and their entire body. So they're having sort of this dissociative state where they're like occasionally seeing something that isn't there anymore, which is sort of similar to like what some like we'll say like people like amputees. That's what it is. So amputees will often have sort of like phantom sensations from their old limbs. This could be sort of like a full body version of that, but with also visual hallucinations as well too. Also, he goes on to refer to this character as Wagstaff's assistant for the rest of the video, but technically they do have a sort of commonly accepted name by the fandom in the files, which isn't confirmed, but it is a possibility because it is part of the names for several of WX's sound files, which their name could have been Woodrow, which is very interesting. Anyways.
Human, but not quite human. WX would struggle with this so much so that they eventually would start to resent Wagstaff, the man who did this to them. This resentment.
That's not confirmed. It's not really confirmed whether or not he did it to them or they did it to themselves. All we know is that he did help them to do it because he was working with them, and they helped him in turn, which in some of the scenes it does seem like they're helping to work on the portal, which is very interesting. Anyways.
Ended in an unexpected outburst of violence towards Wagstaff, and Wagstaff, unwilling to work with a potentially dangerous assistant, seemingly dumped them into the constant, never to be seen again. It's a tragic but short backstory that leaves itself open to many different theories. Like, who was this assistant? What was Wagstaff planning to do with all of these husks? And is WX...
I wouldn't ask what Wagstaff is going to do with them. I want to know what WX is going to do with them, because it seems more like he's discovering what they're doing here, because you know they hate like organics, and they want like they could possibly want other people to take on robotic forms because they like it and they're just silly like that. So I don't really think Wagstaff is the one that made those. I think WX is.
called WX78 because they are the 78th
Oh, whoops. I'm sorry for how laggy this is.
made, meaning there are at least 77 other WXs running around.
Probably not. I just think they just did that. They named themselves, probably. But it is a possibility, and it would be very jarring, I guess, but I don't really think there are more of them because reasons.
In the normal world, helping Wagstaff become ever more efficient. All very interesting questions, but not the questions we'll be focusing on today. Today, we will be focusing on one very important thing. We know that WX78 was human, but are they still human? To answer this question, we first have to answer the question of what makes us human. The problem with this question is that it has baffled scientists, philosophers, and pretty much every human.
There are some stretches that I'll probably just not say anything and let him talk, and I'm really sorry if the audio is as like bad as I think it is, and it's not being picked up. I really hope that it is. I hope that it's at least slightly audible, and I'm really sorry for my really janky setup.
Human being on the planet. And that's because, well, we aren't exactly sure when something becomes not human anymore. You were born a human, and you will die a human. That's how it's always been. But with the age of the
I
future rapidly
don't want to deal with this part.
thrown away before you have something that isn't actually human anymore. A ship of Theseus is a question that
Okay,
asks an object.
I can't. I. PolarLotus. I cannot take this. That is not how you pronounce Theseus. It is Theseus. He's gonna continue to pronounce it incorrectly, but I also think that considering the ship of Theseus paradox is very interesting. I'm gonna let him talk for a bit, and then I'm gonna chime back in.
Is the same after all of its original parts are replaced. For example, let's say that you buy a computer. It's a decent computer, it works great, does everything you need, but one day the GPU gives out. No big deal, just buy a new one and slap it in there. Everything runs fine until, ouch, your motherboard breaks down.
Fun
No
fact:
big deal,
I was
replace
dealing with
that, and
bunnies while
while you're
watching
at it,
this.
decide to upgrade your RAM and CPU. Then one day your storage gives out, and so on until eventually you have replaced every single piece of your computer. This wasn't a fast process, it happened over many, many years, but now there are no original parts of your computer left. Each and every part of it is completely new. Is this computer still the same computer that you bought at the store years ago, or is it something entirely new now?
Okay, so the thing with like the ship of Theseus sort of problem when it is brought to like discussions of humanity, it often sort of overlooks this very interesting sort of like factoid about our bodies is that every like 7 or so years, almost the entirety of our cells have been cycled out and are like entirely new cells. So, like your stomach and a lot of like your organs and like your skin. Uh, I think the brain mostly stays the same, but um, it is true that humans sort of have a similar like thing where our bodies slowly sort of become new, air quotes again, because of this sort of cycle of replacing the cells. So technically, are you still the same person that you were 7 years ago? Well, maybe not like in your brain. Maybe you might be have developed a bit, but some like is your physical body still the same? Like you've grown obviously, but other than that, so it's kind of just a little bit silly to me when people question is like, oh yeah, how much of like a thing can you replace before it's like no longer the same thing? Because we do that too. We are like constantly shedding cells and like new ones are being made. It's just the treadmill of life. Yeah. So I just think that's interesting. He's gonna continue to. I think he mentions Theseus a couple more times. He's really bad at pronouncing it. Oh my god.
Well, the problem is that the question doesn't have a proper answer at all,
Yeah.
because you have to also answer other unanswerable questions to come to a conclusion. Like whether two things can occupy the same place at the same
I'm not
time,
really
and
sure
how
what
parts
he
make
means
up a
by this
whole under the
exactly, but
nature of
yeah.
time. These two questions are completely unanswerable under our
Yeah.
current understanding.
Yeah, so this is like also like the other than like the two things. How do like parts make up a whole under the nature of time? So like because of that whole like 7 years thing and like the cycle of the cells dying and like being replaced, um some of your organs might be technically younger than other ones, which is fun. um Trying to think. Okay. uh I'm just gonna let him talk.
And are therefore paradoxical, making the entire question a paradox.
Yeah.
Theseus's paradox. And that
Theseus.
paradox is the issue we have at hand.
Theseus, dude.
As humans, we are biological organisms. And like every biological organism, we are destined to have bits and pieces fail as the years go on.
Yeah.
Now, most of these issues can be mended by our complex internal
So it's
ecosystems.
just
But
the
once
replacing
something
of
goes
cells.
really wrong, it could be gone for good. And once something no longer works at all, it will generally need to be replaced by something not human. But you see, it's not really hard to call someone with a prosthesis human. Whether it's something invisible like a prosthetic organ, or something very visible like a prosthetic
Yeah.
limb.
So this is just like sort of an extension of like our bodies just sometimes need a little help and like that's okay. It's just a thing. I don't know why I said that. I don't This doesn't need to be said anyways.
You wouldn't say that those people are not human.
Yeah,
Hell,
duh.
you wouldn't even say they are less than human.
Yeah,
They
duh.
still have that unique humanity about them,
Which,
even if
what is
parts
that?
of their human body are gone. Okay, but what about them is the human, and what parts are just replaceable meat bits? Well, first, let's start by taking a standard human and replacing
You know
absolutely
what? I'm just
every
gonna
human
skip
being
past some of this. Just because, like,
about you. You're
I don't really care about this part.
perceived as,
Sorry, buddy.
well, human. 78 may become a real issue soon. You see, WX's story X got to be in that metal casing is a
Okay.
little more complex.
Yeah.
So let's explain with an example. Let's say that you are dying.
Okay.
Well,
Once again, I don't really care about this section. Um. So
every single your
yeah, because
totality.
it doesn't seem like they were
But
in
wait,
any
here's the
danger of
problem.
like
When I
dying.
scan your brain, or are you the some people may say that you are not comprehensible for a consciousness to be brain, your nervous system. It's not over. Now you have a new metallic body.
Okay.
All of the thoughts from your
He
past
does
life are whirring around in
mention
your mind.
here
And at first,
something.
you were dying, and
Hold on.
now you are here. Not dead, but no longer in a human body. You
Yeah.
don't even remember the
Okay, so he sort of mentions how like when okay, actually I'm just gonna let him talk about it and then I'm gonna say stuff.
process of dying. In fact, immediately when I scanned your brain, you entered into this new body. That's because, as a consciousness, you can't actually comprehend unconsciousness. I mean, think about it. Try to think of a situation where you are totally and utterly unconscious. And no, sleep doesn't count. Because generally, when you go to sleep, you will either dream or wake up. I'm talking about totality here, infinite
Yeah.
unconsciousness.
Yeah, so our brains do actually do a lot while we're asleep. It's like typically it is like sort of storing away information from the day and just like dreaming is like a part of that process and like there's a lot of like sort of um stuff that also gets like flushed out and cleared out and just like getting you ready for the new day. It's part of why you feel so refreshed and energized in the morning because like your brain is just doing better. Anyways.
Consciousness. You can't, right? Because it doesn't make sense to you. And
Mm-hmm.
thus, it passes in an instant. Not seconds, not milliseconds, no, instantaneously.
Yeah. So there's another video that I've seen that's a Kurzgesagt video, which I forgot which one it is exactly. I think it might have been like the You Are Dead one. But no, wait, no, it was Optimistic Nihilism. Okay, I think I'm not sure which one it was, but they say close your eyes, count to one. That's how long forever feels. So when you aren't like around anymore. Oh yes, it was Optimistic Nihilism. So when you like aren't conscious, it feels like nothing. Nothing like no time passes. So if you like went unconscious for one moment, he mentions this later. If you went unconscious one moment and then like a million years later you woke up again, you wouldn't know that that amount of time had passed. It would just be instantaneous for you because we just we only perceive time passing because we are experiencing it and like having it happen. It's really interesting. It's really weird, and I don't know how to explain it. But yeah.
If I scanned your brain on November 22nd, 2024, and then uploaded your brain on December 24th, 2274, the same amount of time would pass for you as if I uploaded it on November 23rd, 2024. There is no sense of time for an unconscious mind.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously it seems like the one thing that sticks with us is our consciousness. So that has to be what makes us human, right? Well, what are we if not our experiences, our thoughts? Those are uniquely human and uniquely us. Our bodies aren't exactly unique. Almost every multicellular organism on this planet also has one, just in a different form. Sure, it's a part of what makes us human, but it isn't exactly the most human part of us. The most human part at the moment seems to be our consciousness. The fact that we can feel such complex emotions, that we can fear things that no ordinary animal can, such as our own mortality, and it's a part of us.
I mean, technically, other animals also fear dying. They just have sort of a less like dread aspect to it. So like we fear dying because like, oh no, it's the end of all of our like existence, and what will be remaining of us. But like for a lot of other animals, it's like, if I die, I won't be able to like make kids. So, but yeah, we do have, I would say, like a better example of things that we fear is things that we've made up, like tests or bosses, or like general like things that aren't really particularly existential threats, but we still are afraid of them anyway. Just that we've made up in society. So, yeah. Also, I think this might be a good spot to like just talk about my tangent of how evil is a very human thing. So most creatures, if they attack something, like any like carnivore attacks something and like kills it, you wouldn't really call that evil because they were just wanting to eat. But humans are capable of killing something and then not using its body, just killing something for the sake of killing, which is what we would call evil. Um, and like most other creatures are just generally not capable of that kind of intentional malice. So even like a random herbivore that won't eat your body can still attack you if they feel threatened by your presence. So that is technically a like good reason to do it. So like they could just be defending, they might be needing to eat, but they're not really capable of causing others suffering for no good particular reasons. They're always getting something out of it, and it isn't just like the sick, like glee that some people can get from causing harm to other things. I will not admit, I will not claim to be exempt from that. I have killed ants. That is about it. Anyways, um, it's like the only other creature that we've sort of noticed gets close to like being evil is dolphins, which are very smart, and they sometimes will like toy with their food and like intentionally sort of torture the creatures that they're about to eat, which is uh, something that is a thing, I guess, and not really necessary. It's not. It doesn't help them in any particular way other than like maybe feeling good in a really sick, twisted way. But yeah, so the fact that WX is so sort of obsessed with being evil and stuff is sort of trapping themselves with humanity, I would say, just because in chasing that, they're just proving their humanity because they are capable of evil, which is a very human thing to be capable of. Anyways,
That we will always have, or at least this iteration of you will always have. You may not be outwardly human anymore, but the single most important part of you still exists, even in that new shell. Consciousness is the one thing that cannot be replaced, so now the question is the consciousness what makes us human, despite only one iteration of us being able to exist at one time? Okay, let's slow down and come back to Earth for a second. So, what does any of this have to do with WX78? Well, as we just talked about, there is a very good chance that WX is actually a copy of Wagstaff's assistant, rather
Woodrow.
than the actual consciousness of them. Essentially, there is Wagstaff's assistant number one, who we saw working with animals and such, and then
I'm glad he recognizes that because in his crimes video, he attributed the animal experimentation to Wagstaff, which is fun fact my first interaction with a PolarLotus video.
Wagstaff's assistant number two, who is within WX78's casing. There is no possibility that Wagstaff's assistant is still the same iteration as the one that's inside of
I
WX,
mean,
as we have
it could also be just like it is entirely possible. Like obviously, this is also a possible case, but it is also entirely possible that he brings it up. It's just it could just be straight up magic. It could just be straight up magic.
previously established that one consciousness can't be in two places at the same time. Of course, this is going off of our own real world science,
Yeah, there you
and
go.
science may very well work differently even in Don't Starve's regular world where Wagstaff resides. But either way, WX is still very much human in the sense that they are piloted by a human conscious. That being the the one of Wagstaff's assistant, who they are a copy of. Sure, WX doesn't drop a soul like all the other creatures, but we don't even know what souls really are. For
Yeah.
all we know, souls in the constant could just be organic essence. Something.
I really think they could really just be souls. I think so. They do disappear after a bit of time, so I think that could be what the case with WX is that their soul is just stale, so Wartox wouldn't pick it up,
That
or this is
would
not enough.
obviously be missing within WX, as there is no longer any organic bits left within them. But here comes another problem. We need to try to figure out what exactly this little doodad is right here. Now, we know that it's considered the empathy module of WX, something that was broken when Wagstaff dumped them in the constant, and something that.
Okay, so I think so. I don't know. I don't remember if you like what he talks about exactly here, but the empathy module seems to be more of like memories. It seems to store memories, is what I'm saying, because it is the reactivation of it that sort of brings back that flashback that happens. So it could also be like just like sort of storing some memories of like what happened previously that they were like storing away. I think they might have intentionally like tried to ignore that because they did literally just rip it out. Anyways,
That once repaired triggered intense flashbacks. Almost as if this module right here was what was storing WX's true humanity. I
or
mean,
or just memories. It could also just be memories.
it's in the name, empathy module. Now, empathy isn't a uniquely human emotion, but it's an emotion that defines many humans.
Okay. I will argue here that empathy is not exactly required for like being human because plenty of humans just don't experience empathy. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a normal like part of existence. Empathy is the ability to see the world from other people's perspective and just like sort of understanding where they're coming from and understanding like, oh, this is like another person with like a full and complete life. And like obviously you can like consciously realize that too, but sort of like um sort of being able to like empathize with someone is like being able to like connect with their experience, being like, not only do I like sympathize with your situation, I understand and I know what's like going on. um and some people just don't really experience empathy, and it's completely natural. It is because like empathy is like one of like several like ways that we connect with other people, and sympathy is not less than empathy, because like some people could be fully empathetic but not be sympathetic, or like people might not experience empathy but be very sympathetic. So it's just sort of a part of our complex like emotional like worlds, which is like we're each kind of different, like have different levels of each kinds of things from each other, and it might even change over the course of our lifetime. So I don't really agree with what he says in this sort of section about like empathy being as important as it is, because it's just another facet of our emotional world, and it's not really like all important to all humans. And he okay, go on.
This is troubling for sure. Remember, the constant is a weird place, and we don't actually know exactly what is causing WX to be alive. We know that in the pre-constant, it was Wagstaff's assistant, but could they be repressed by this broken empathy module? Truly inhuman automatons aren't exactly rare in the constant either, with clockworks and certain bosses being pretty much fully machined, with seemingly no sentience, or higher conscious. So the question now becomes, is the empathy module WX's humanity, or is
I
it
don't really.
merely an amplifier of these human emotions?
Yeah, it could just be amplifying emotions, because empathy is not necessarily required for humanity. It's just a part of how we experience the world. I just realized I keep freeze framing on really, really like silly frames of the dragonfly.
Well, as of making this script, we don't actually know. We can only theorize.
Mm-hmm.
However, I personally believe it is the latter. Knowing how human consciousness works and knowing WX's backstory makes me believe that there may still be part of Wagstaff's old assistant still in there somewhere. Especially because WX has memories, clearly hates Wagstaff, and generally shows human emotions. So, is WX 78 still human? Maybe. Wow, that's stupid. Why would I make a theory video on
Yeah. Uh, so like their humanity is just sort of like I'm not sure. Obviously, no one is going to be sure, but I definitely think that they probably always probably felt a disconnect from humanity. Just as someone who does feel disconnected from humanity, you might see like on screen, I have this little character that's representing me who's like a robot and also like partially a cat, and like I have other like sort of personas that I sort of take on that are very much non-human. Like all of the characters that I like view as myself sometimes are not human. So I just sort of feel disconnected from like humanity. Like I understand I am a human, my emotions are human, my mind is human, my body is human, but I don't feel fully connected to that experience. So I think they could be otherkin like me and might connect more with a robotic experience, which they do seem to be sort of profoundly lonely, um, because they react to like other machines with very like friendly and familial terms, but these machines can't really respond back to them. It would seem like they refer to the science machine as mother. They refer to various other machines as brothers and sisters, and like call other machines friends. And they seem so connected to these, but they can't actually like respond because there's nothing like WX. And I can sort of understand like that sort of feeling of not feeling connected to two different worlds. So they might feel disconnected from being human, but they also might feel disconnected from being an inhuman robot because they still have that sort of intersectionality of being some both, which I think could be interesting to play with in like maybe the fanfic space.
something that isn't a potential yes or no? Well, that's because to be human means different things.
Yeah.
From a biological standpoint, to be human is to be in the mammalian genus of hominid. This includes not only modern and ancient humans, but also some of the great apes. From a biological standpoint, it is actually our physical being that makes us human. In biology, each and every one of us could realistically become inhuman, whether it's via implants and prosthetic inhuman bits and parts,
I'm not
or
really
by
sure where he's
creating
going with
copies
there,
of our neural network and uploading them into a new body.
which I
From a
doubt it.
biology standpoint, WX78 is not human, but this is obvious. What about from a psychological standpoint? To lose one's humanity is to lose what we previously established makes us human. For example, there are some people who are.
Okay, so he goes on to talk about psychopaths here, and like I want to say, they're still human. They're still human people. They just have like a different like internal experience. So that is not a bad thing. That is just a natural like part of the variety of human existence. Like it's it's no less, people who are psychopaths are no less human than people who are also like autistic or like have ADHD. Um, and like that goes for a lot of like the other like heavily stigmatized neurotypes and disorders. They're still human people. They're still like full human people who can live life normally if they want to, but they just have a different experience. So I'm just gonna like skip past a bit just because like ugh, just like sorry, but I disagree.
These
Anyways,
people are considered inhuman.
okay, but they aren't inhuman.
Our ability to process complex emotions.
Yes, but
This
they can still
suggests that
process
complex
complex
emotions are
emotions.
what makes
Anyways.
us human. However, this has been proven false. Many mammals experience complex
Mm-hmm.
emotions, and it wouldn't be totally out of the ordinary for a learning algorithm, especially one tainted by the strange
Well,
magic of the constant.
okay, so the thing with like learning algorithms is like computers are good at like their own set of things. They're like good at I forgot what it was exactly. Like they're like good at like analysis, calculations, that kind of stuff. But human like our minds are not as good at that and are in fact better at pattern recognition. That is part of like how we process the world, is recognizing patterns within the world. So like we might recognize that, oh, this thing causes this thing, So will this thing cause this other thing or this related thing or whatever? So, um, so really, algorithms can't really experience emotions because what we experience as emotions are a result of that like sort of recognition of patterns. So it's just a fundamental like disconnect in like how the processing systems work. So I don't really think that like uh, a fully emotional AI is possible within like our world, just with how it works. Anyways,
To learn the way that mammals would. But remember, this is still speculatory. And we know for a fact that WX at least was Wagstaff's assistant. So is WX human psychologically? Maybe. And finally, spiritual people believe that the soul is what makes us human. Now, it's never been proven that humans have a soul, or what these souls even are.
yeah, there's like a whole like funny. It was like, oh yeah, it weighs this amount. Like it could just be like natural processes after death. It's funny. It's just funny. Yeah. Whether or not we have a soul is kind of just up to you. If you want to feel like you do have one, then like yeah, you have one. Great. If you don't really care either way, then like I don't care. Whatever.
But thanks to one silly little character, we do know that they are canon in Don't Starve's universe. Or at least the constant. We also can see that WX is very much as their nickname.
Yeah. So it seems like they're just stale to me because like he's about to say it, but Wartox does say that not they're not so soulless after all upon examining their ghost. So I just think they do have one or like remnants of one. They're just not like fresh enough to be used because the souls that spawn around Wartox disappear pretty quickly. So they might only be like stable enough to be used by him for a certain amount of time, and they like WX is far past that time, obviously.
Name implies, soulless. But WX does have a ghost. Funny enough, Wartox's dialogue for inspecting WX's ghost contradicts the whole soulless automaton thing. Now, we aren't exactly sure if ghosts are canon in Don't Starve's universe. We only know that death and reviving is. So, is WX a human spiritually? Probably not. It depends if ghosts are canon or not. And so, there you have it. It's a big fat maybe. I'm sorry that we couldn't come to a conclusion in this video. It's just with a.
Okay, yeah, I think that's enough from that. Okay, thanks for like sitting through this and watching uh me say and a lot as I'm doing this completely unscripted and all in one take. And holy shit, this is 38 minutes. I guess I had a lot more to say than I thought. So thank you for watching, I guess, and see you later probably.